Hey guys, we're here with a new episode. We're gonna call this Tactical Time. So basically, what we're gonna do is me and him just had an awesome battle, and we didn't film it unfortunately, but to me it was maybe one of the best battles I've had in the last year. It was my Isengard versus Gondor. So we decided, since we each were talking kind of after the battle, we're gonna start filming a new like kind of a different episode. We have our unboxings, we'll have our battle reports, and then we'll have something like this where we interact with you guys. Basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about our tactics we have for our armies, various army lists, whatever. So, and then if since this is our first episode, if you guys comment below, we'll try and answer it in the next video. So you guys will ask us a question like, what's your favorite elf hero? And we'll answer it to the best of our ability. If you have any rule questions, we'll try and answer that too. So first, we're going to go over our tactics. Since he's been playing Gondor since 2006, he's made many different lists. He's had a lot of different battles with him. He's going to start off with his tactic he uses with his Gondor.
Alright, so pretty much when we first started in the hobby, we started off at like 600 points. And so the heroes you take and the stuff you take really depends on the point limits. There are certain elements you definitely want to have in your Gondor list. So in terms of heroes, like I used to take Aragorn and stuff in a 600 point game, and he took up almost half of my points in a 600 point army. And so what I would do now, if I actually went to tournaments and stuff for that list and didn't do bad, but if I was going to go back and rechange my 600 point list, I'd take Aragorn out, even though he's my favorite character, and I'd probably put Faramir as maybe the number one hero. And if you want to take a big point hero like Boromir, Aragorn, I would have to go with your secondary heroes is Baragond and Damrod. Those are two, Damrod's 20 points, Baragond's 25 points. Both of them pretty good, and it'll allow you to use a bigger hero. But the points I've kind of set in stone with my Gondor list, and kind of after several drafts, I've written several Gondor drafts. I've came up with my 750 point game, which we've actually filmed before, and that was Cirion, Aragorn, and Faramir. And then I just deploy pretty much my Fountain Guard and then my warriors together in a big shield wall. I deploy 10 Citadel Guard with bows somewhere, and then they're my archers. And they actually are really good at archery. They're worth the points because if you think about it this way, if you take a ranger, okay, they shoot on a 3-up, but they have a strength 2 bow. Now, I'd rather have a strength 3 bow and shoot on a 4-up, to be honest, because a lot of the times when you need to win something big, that's when you start having fluctuations in the chart. And so, like, a strength 2 bow is going to need like a 6 and then a 5, where a strength 3 bow might just need a 6. And so
Unless they have one higher defense.
Yeah, and then also they have one higher defense and they have bodyguard. So I've used rangers a lot. I use rangers all the time, but I feel like Citadel Guard for Gondor, it's a really good archery choice for all the reasons I just listed. Then you gotta always go with Fountain Guard, of course, with your infantry, because defense 7, fight 4, spears, shields. Amazing. Bodyguard. And then I take, so they're a little bit more expensive. So what I do is, instead of taking 12, I take 6 of them, 6 Citadel Guards with spears, and then I have them in a formation. And that's worked out great. And then I take 6 warriors with just upgrade with shields, and then 6 warriors upgrade with spears and shields, and then I just have a huge shield wall. And so pretty much the game he was talking about is I took that list, and the terrain was set up in a way where my shield wall was in the middle of the field. It was like two goblin town terrains, and like on each side, and then my shield wall was in the middle of that, and then he deployed his shield wall in the middle, and our shield walls just clashed together, and Aragorn came in from the side and started killing guys. His troll came in, started killing guys. My archers were running down fires. His ballista was shooting guys left and right, and it was just a really close game. But the thing that I would say about my Gondor list, and if you wanted to, you kind of base something off this, is the list I have is able to like grind down an army eventually, with Aragorn and Faramir and Cirion, all their might, their KO power. Aragorn. This is my theory on Aragorn. If you're not using that reoccurring might a turn, then you're not using it right. You have a free might to use it somehow, and that's how I've always used Aragorn, and it's always worked for me. He's always put out. He's almost. I mean, that the game we had, he almost made up his points because eventually he killed the cave troll, killed an Uruk-hai captain, killed several Uruk-hai, and it's pretty fantastic. So, if you're going to play a 750-point game or more, I would take Fountain Guard. If you don't want to take Aragorn or Boromir, maybe invest your points in something else like a Bolt Thrower or a Trebuchet. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Aragorn, so if I have an opportunity to take him, I'm going to take him. And I kind of feel him more of an elite list. So I have a little bit smaller model count for 750, but it's very elite. And
it's also themed because it's supposed to be post War of the Rings, so it's after Aragorn's become king. Faramir's the captain of Ithilien, and Cirion's in there somewhere. So it's a themed list too. So
absolutely. There's a lot you can do with Gondor, but that's one thing I've learned to do, and it's worked out. I mean, you can take Damrod. Damrod and Baragon are good to be able to fit in. Madril's pretty good. Although I would take Cirion over Madril if you're going to spend 55 points on a hero.
Denethor is.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, he's kind of a fluffy. He's kind of like a character used in a scenario.
Yeah.
And then the guy that was released with the source books.
Oh yeah, the White Tower Guard or whatever his name is.
White Knight or the Tower Knight or whatever.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. He does 2 wounds.
He can do 2 wounds.
But I think he's 55 points as well. So if you're gonna miss 55 points, I think he's 2 might. Madril's 3 might. Sirion's 3 might. I think. If you want extra might.
Cirion is defense 6
as well. So
and his rule, the Bold and the Brave, is done very good in the past because a lot of evil players, they take monsters and bring race that cause fear, and you want to charge them, and you got +2 to your courage.
Yeah, it's also good. Another reason why this list is good against evil armies with Harbinger of Evil, with the Terror.
So majority of it is
bodyguard. So they automatically pass courage test as long as Aragorn's alive.
Yeah.
And many veterans know Aragorn's fairly hard to kill, and a lot of people getting into the game will learn Aragorn is he's one of the harder guys to kill. He's also very tough. He's a very tough model to take down.
A good way I like to describe Aragorn, he's a brawler. He doesn't have fight 7, so it's hard. He goes in there, and if you win combat, if he loses combat, then he takes all the punishment. Then as soon as he wins combat, he's gonna start doing blows, man. Here's how I take him. I take him mounted, and then if you do it right, then you're gonna have 4 attacks on the charge, and then if you're gonna do knockdown, so that's 8 attacks that would do anything on a 4 up. Potentially. So it's just a tactic. I take Faramir mounted with a heavy horse, armored horse. Sorry, he has a shield, heavy armor, and a lance, and so that means he charges. He's gonna have mad blows, and he has 3 might, 2 fate, 2 will. Just a really, really awesome hero for the points.
Yeah. And
then Cirion, defense 6. There's several small heroes. It just depends on the points. Like I said,
the points on what your style is.
Points, and then kind of what you want to accomplish. Like maybe you want to do an archery themed list. Maybe take Madril, who has a bow.
Damrod,
Baragon. Baragon has a strength 3 bow. If you want to do a ranger list, take Faramir, who don't upgrade him with armor, just have him with a bow. Yeah. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to have knights, if you want to have more, all knight list I've thought about doing before, having Faramir mounted, maybe I wouldn't take Aragorn mounted because Aragorn's really expensive, and I'd like to field as many knights as I could.
So like Faramir.
So Faramir upgraded the same way.
Maybe Boromir.
He's still kind of expensive. You want to field in a cavalry list. You want to field as much cavalry as you can. So maybe like 2 captains. Maybe Baragon. You can give him a horse.
Baragon, I think.
And then
can you use Syrian a horse?
No, you upgrade all of them come with lances. So it'd be pretty awesome. I thought about doing that before, but never did. So Gondor is a versatile army. You can do a lot with them.
They can take artillery,
ballista, trebuchet. I've never really been a big fan of those because they take up points, and the objective of the game for me, at least when building a list, I like to look at the model count I have and all that.
And if you're rolling for the random scenarios in the books, sometimes taking those big pieces, like maybe if it's an objective based game, that thing's got to stay put. So. And
then also, with the deployment the way it is, somebody can deploy 12 inches away from. I mean, they can deploy close enough to your catapult where
you can't.
In the first 2 turns, they can be within 12 inches, and then you can't shoot them anyway. 18. So yeah.
So, that's his. Gondor, very good army for someone who's a beginner. I think because they're not like. Pound for pound, I wouldn't say they're the best army in the game, but they're very versatile. There's a lot you can do with them. They're very fluffy. So for new guys, I would say, I'd try Gondor as a new player.
They have high defense. I mean, they don't have a high courage, but high defense.
But they have the ability to take a lot of bodyguards.
They have a lot of bodyguards. And the generic warriors are pretty decent. So,
that's the Gondor section of this. And I thought of a few armies I played, and I figured I would do Rohan. You haven't really seen me play Rohan much, but I've been playing him as long as he's been playing Gondor. And I've done lots of different lists with him as well. I've done tons of different battles. So, playing Rohan for so many years, I've come to the conclusion where you have to have cavalry. It's the horse lords, it makes sense. But here's where I break the line. So I ran all infantry of Rohan. It was in a tournament, and I took 4 warbands. It was Théoden, Gambling, Éomer, and Erkenbrand. And I thought it would be really good, and I took a bunch of Outriders on foot. It was a high model count, but when you take them off their horses, and we have just warriors, I didn't have Grimbold. I should have took Grimbold, but it seems like they lack the knockout power. They lack the power that it takes to take out another shield wall. And plus, they can't take shields of their own. Or they can't take spears, of their own. So they can't be supported. So, I think if you're going to play Rohan as a new player, I would recommend what you do is you take mounted guys with infantry. You combine them. Because, depending on points, I normally played 600 points with them. They have about 2 full warbands. And then the third warband, if you're running all cavalry, is a little low, like 2 or 3 models. Also depending on what models you take. So the first 2 models I put on my list, when I make a Rohan list, it's always the first 2 on my list. Éomer, Knight of Pelennor, and Erkenbrand. Erkenbrand is like, if you don't take him, then I don't know why. Because he's +2 to your guy's courage. He can turn your riders into 5/4 with his red shield. The Westfold red shields. So he pretty much can buff your riders from generic to pretty good, pretty elite. And then of course, what I like to do when I take Éomer is I like to take Royal Guard for the same reasons he said earlier. They're defense 6, fight 4. They have bodyguard. The fight 4 doesn't really matter because my riders are going to be fight 4. But the defense 6 helps. Bodyguard helps. And then Sons of Errol. I only have 4 at the moment. I've seen people take full warbands, and they're quite dangerous. Strength 4, defense 6, 2 attack base, 3 in the charge, 12-inch moving horses. So they're pretty good. They're pretty good models. They're a little bit expensive, 22 points a model, but they're worth it, I'd say.
Well, another thing that like Rohan writers have for them is now they have 100% bow limit.
They do, yeah. Games Workshop made an errata on their website saying that Rohan riders have 100% bow limit, or a warband with them.
So that's pretty amazing because, I mean, I versed his Rohan with my goblins one time, and his Rohan just wiped my goblins clean. By the time I got to him, he just bum rushed in and got me. So I mean, you know, like this is like just a tactic is, it's just kind of maybe sit back, shoot a little bit, and then by the time your enemy gets to you, he's probably weaker than you are, and depending on what they take in shooting. And then by the time you charge in, I mean, Rohan's just brutal, man. The Horse Lord's coming in. Aemir coming in with strength 5.
Yep, Knight of the Pelennor gets strength 5 on the charge. So, heroes. Aemir and Eric and Brand. Third hero is a toss-up. And here's where I've had problems. I used to take Théoden because he was one of my favorite characters from the movie and the book. And fluff-wise, I always made him my leader. Now, he always did really good. He's susceptible to magic. He has no will. So he has had problems with that. But most of the time, he kills a lot. And then I get broken because of my low model count. And then he flees. It's always, he's Courage 5. It's pretty generic for a man hero. But he'll flee. And then my leader's gone. So I've learned, fluff-wise, if I take Théoden, I'm not going to be fluffy. I'm going to make Aemir. But Théoden's a good hero, but I wouldn't make him your leader. So for the third option, Grimbald's good. If you take Grimbald, you can mix him in with warriors and upgrade him to strength 4. You give him the strength 4. It's not really like my favorite thing because even though they're strength 4, they're only fight 3, defense 5, and they can't move as quick as the rest of your army. But it could work. I mean, for an objective-based game, sit him up there on an objective, it's pretty good. Another hero is Gamling. Gamling's, he's alright, and then you give him the banner, which means any model that goes down to 0 might gets 1 might, anything within 3 inches. I think it's 1 hero can get 1 might, which is, it's a lot of points. It's 50 points for that upgrade. So, unless you're just going through might, which I would recommend not doing with Rohan, then it's kind of a pointless upgrade. But he, you know, if you get him and you don't use him with the banner, he's, I think, 55 points. Or he's 45, and then you give him a horse to be 55, I believe is what it is. Hamma. Hamma's good. He's kind of the same thing as Gamling. I think he's more of a like scenario kind of character, using in Helm's Deep or the attack of the wargs. The warg attack.
Théodred.
Théodred's good. Now, the thing with Théodred is he has no fate, but he pretty much has 3s in all the right places other than fate.
Defense 7.
Defense
so,
7.
wait, does he have 3 wounds or 2?
I think he has 2.
So, I mean, that means that pretty
Defense
much
6.
Defense 6.
Yep.
I mean, that means you have to wound him twice to kill him.
Yeah,
but
and you got other heroes to worry about too. So he's a good hero.
He might be worth taking.
He might be worth. Another hero that is worth taking is Eowyn. She's not as strong. She's like strength 3 compared to strength 4, but she's 3 might and she's 35 points, which is really cheap. Another hero, kind of fluff-wise, that wouldn't really work is Errol. You take him with the... He also had an errata where he's defense 7 now, but you take him with the Errol riders, Sons of Errol, and it's pretty good. But I wouldn't really do that because of fluff reasons. It's you know, if you go to a tournament like that, I don't think you would get many points for fluff and generic captains are pretty good. I've taken them before. Fight 4. You could give them defense 8, 2 might, and they can be mounted. They're pretty good to lead Vanguard. So.
But yeah, they're tough to kill, man.
Tough to kill.
I mean, I've literally had to send Aragorn after a captain just because he was wiping out my flank, and he's just too tough for my normal guys just to wound him on defense 8.
Yeah,
that's why I take Faramir. He has defense 8,
yeah.
Which is just amazing.
No, he's defense 7.
No, Faramir.
Faramir's defense
8.
Is he defense 8?
Yeah, because he comes with 5, heavy armor's 2, and then shield.
Oh yeah.
And then Théoden is also defense 8.
Théoden's defense 8. That's why, and he has 2 fate. but like I said, his Achilles heel is his no will. I versed a guy playing a Serpent Horde list, and it was pretty cool. It was all mounted versus all mounted, but he had the Betrayer, and Théoden got surrounded and transfixed, and he died. And then Aemir with my Sons of Errol came on the flank, and they pretty much cleaned house. But the reason why that battle I lost is because my leader was killed, and he was in the center. It's like, here's how the battle was. The center here, Théoden with his warband, two flanks. I had Ericambr on this flank. I had Aemir on this flank with his. I had Sons of Errol and the Royal Guard with him because I like running heavy guys with Aemir because he's heavily, so naturally I run the heavy guys with him. But Théoden's he's a good hero, but again, I wouldn't make him your leader. He's also susceptible to magic. So Aemir, Ericambr, and then the third hero is just up to you. It also depends on points, because that's 600 points. If you send 50, you could probably do a third warband with cavalry, depending on what, if you take a lot of Sons of Errol or if you take a lot of Royal Guard, you probably can only field that one warband with elite guys, and then have two warbands with riders. It just depends what you want to do. I mean, Rohan's, they're versatile, but at the same time, you want to make sure you have enough cavalry, outriders.
I mean, last I looked, I heard or looked or anything, they were ranked pretty low on the competitive list. Although people have gone to tournaments and won with Rohan, and that's cool because they have really good tactic and they have the potential. But if you're first getting into the game, then I wouldn't play Rohan. I mean, it's more of a thing where you kind of gradually build up to it.
If you do want to play him as a new guy because their models are cool, they're in the movie, they're pretty cool, then I wouldn't discourage you from it. But if you want to start out and go to tournaments, I would probably start with another army.
Well,
tournaments.
Well, let's leave you with this.
Yeah.
Is if you're a new guy and you're looking into getting into the game, you want to play a good army, the dwarves from Lord of the Rings,
Dwarves of Erebor too,
and dwarves of Erebor, or if you wanted to play evil, Isengard and Mordor.
Yep.
And I feel like we can cover both those armies in our next segment.
Yeah.
So
just hope you guys enjoyed this. It's going to be kind of our interactive thing. We'd like to interact with you guys. Not only do we want to get new guys into the hobby, but we want to get guys who've been into the hobby motivated
and other kind of just become a community.
So we want you guys to comment on this because we want this part of our thing is we're gonna do this every week. So we want you guys to tell us tactics that you use with these armies, or if you have questions on rules or questions on points or whatever, like what we would do for so and so, then we'll answer in the next episode with the comments. So I hope you guys like this. I hope you guys subscribe and comment. So thanks for watching. Happy wargaming.